Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Vision Academy. In this video, we are going to be talking about the Bootstrap 5 buttons. Let's move. So we have button styles. Bootstrap 5 provides different styles of button. Basic, primary, secondary, warning. Now that we are very familiar with all of this, I'll not really be talking about these colors again. So it says the button classes can be used on all elements, like example, like link buttons. So we have one. Why do we put an hash? So we have one which says, why do we put an hash in the area href attribute of the link? Since we do not have any page to link it to, and we don't want to get a 404 message, we put an hash there. In real life, it should be, of course, been with a real URL link to search the page. Let's move to the next part. We have the basic outline. Bootstrap 5 also provides 8 outlines bordered buttons. Move the mouse over them to see the additional over effect. Let's move. So let's just create a normal button here. So come here, we'll create a div, and inside this div, let's just say h2, and we'll say button styles. Don't forget, always put the div class container, and then margin top -3. So after this part, so create buttons and say button. Inside button, what do we want? We'll say primary. And what are we doing here? Yes, class BTN primary. So we'll create another button. We'll say secondary. It should give me, so it should give me this thing. So we'll also create another one, button. Then inside this button, we can say success, info, warning, that this. Now, let me start giving it this. Accept. It's meaning for the dark that has not been accepted. Yes. So this is how this works. They will come here. We'll say type, which will be button. Yes. You should bring it for all of them there. Meaning this too. Yes. So this is just a simple button example. Can you see? We have the primary, secondary, success, info, warning, danger, light, and dark. So let's move to the next part. So the next part says, so let's move to the next part. The next part says outline. You can do this outline with the over effect. Let's move to the button size. That is, use the BTN large class for large buttons or .btn small class for small buttons. That is large default, small. Then we have the block level buttons. To create a block level buttons that spans the entire width of the parent element, use the .dgrid helper class on the parent element. So let's create something around this. So in this button, we already have, like, let's just make use of one of two. Let's just make use of primary, secondary, danger, info. Let's just use this. Let's remove this. I don't really like that second. Thank you. Okay, yeah, good. So what do we need to do? After this class BTN, we'll come here and we'll say BTN LG. Then we'll come here, we'll say BTN MD. And this one will be, so let's go like this. Let's see how this works. So this is for the different sizes. So we have BTN large, medium, small, and the XL. So that is that. So we have block level buttons, which gives it full width. So let's do our example around that. So we'll remove this small, this. So just remove all of them. And we can just say, let me remove this SM. So give it alt. And we'll say BTN block. now let's say it out. Okay, let's just make use of one. Okay, so let's create our example. We can just remove all of this and we'll say, we'll come to our class. We can create another div actually. Then inside this div, we'll give it CSS, we'll give it class D grade, just to make the button full. And we'll come to our button, we'll say button. Inside this button, we want to type to the button, we can give it BTM Premi, and we'll come here, we'll say BTM block. BTM block. So this is it to get a full block element of a button. So let's move to the next part, which says, if you have many block level buttons, you can control the space between them with the gap class. Full width button, then full width button, full width button. So let's go. Let's give it, they say we can control it with the gap. So we can say gap 2 and we create this. Let's recreate another one. So now let's say, so can you see what this just created with the gap? This has made our work so easy. So we have active and disabled button. So a button can be set as an active, that is as per appear pressed, or disabled, which is unclickable. So the class active makes a button appear pressed and the disabled attribute makes it unclickable. Note that element does not support the disabled attribute. I must therefore use the .disable class to make it virtually appear disabled. So let's go. So we already have it here. We can come here and give this age to say active / disabled. Active and disabled. So after that, we have 3 here. We can remove this display block. We can remove this display block. We don't need them. Now let's give this one active and let's give this last one disabled. So let's see. We don't want them in grid. Okay. We can then have it like this and remove this thing. So yes, let's say. So can you see active and this has been disabled? This is showing us that it's active. It is a different color from this one and disabled. So that is that for that. Let's move to the next part. We have the spinal button. You can also add spinal to a button, which you will learn more about. So let's move to the spinal part. In this part, we already have a button. Then inside the button, we would remove this one. And we can say span. Inside span. Let's give it a space. Now we can say span. Inside span, we don't want to give it anything. Then let's remove this active, disabled. Then inside span, let's remove this. So we can say, we'll come here, we'll give it class, spinner, border, spinner, border SM. So we've given this one BTN Premi. So this is for spinner. I don't want to give it loading. So we can duplicate all of this. Then we can say loading. So now, loading. So now let's check it out. So we have different spinals. So you can just use this to create spinal. I am working on spinal, so you would understand. Let me change this to spinal. Let's see it. So yeah, this is correct. So that is that about that. Thank you for watching this video. Please do well to follow us across all socials at Tech Academy. See you next time. Bye.